And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is Friday, February 10th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down most of an 11-game NBA slate coming off of the trade deadline. So many people change teams. We have very little idea who's actually going to be playing for a bunch of them. We're going to do the best that we can right now, but a lot of this exercise is just to hang out for an hour. I got a hard out at 7:30, so we've got an hour to break this down as best that we can. Good morning to everybody that's here. Happy to see everybody. It's a tough one, man. I'm tired. I'm pretty tired. I'm not going to lie. But I got to head to the gym at 8 o'clock, so no rest for me here. Karen, my tooth is good. There is no tooth. It is now just an implant. It is basically a tiny screw in my jaw, or whatever, wherever the hell it gets put, right here. And then I'll get a crown on it in a couple months once it really holds on the inside. But we broke down everything for the trade deadline yesterday. Got that 4-gamer in the books last night. The NBA is ridiculous for scheduling 11 games the day after the deadline. Just the confusion here. There's just no reason. I could see a couple teams playing, you got to keep games going on. There's just no reason to have a massive slate on a day like today. It just seems extra confusing. But we don't have time for my soliloquies. We don't have time for me to go on a monologue to start. I don't have much to add on the deadline at this point. If you'd like to know my thoughts on the deadline, there's a trade deadline show on this channel. You can go check it out. All 2 hours of coverage. Dr. DFS, feeling good. Feeling good. Little sore today. There was nothing yesterday. It's a little sore today. Nothing that I can't handle. What we need to do, 1, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. We need that right out of the gate. Shout out to BetMGM. You see them on the banner at the top and at the bottom. I don't think we're going to be able to run crunches today. I shouldn't tell you that at the beginning. Spoiler alert. We're probably not going to run crunches today because they're not going to be all that useful. I don't know if we're even going to get through all these games, but there are so many teams that are just going to have massive Q tags that I think a crunch is just going to be useless. So I do want to talk about BetMGM, and I just want to say that you guys should sign up there. You should click the link in the description if you're living in a legal betting state and you've never signed up at BetMGM before. Head on over, make a deposit. It's got to be at least $10, but you're going to get 1 free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum when you do that, and up to $1,000 in first bet insurance. You're not going to find better deals elsewhere. It's a lot of value coming into you. If you were going to do this sort of stuff anyway, you should absolutely do it. If you're on the fence, this is the perfect time. Aldo, thank you. Last night, I mean, I can't complain, really. For the most part, 150 maxers got body bagged. I was at the top of, I was in a group of people that lost the least amount of money, which I'll take as a victory. I can't be too mad, though. But let's drink some coffee. Let's get into it. Couldn't do the coffee yesterday. Certainly can today. I certainly think that having my coffee yesterday from 1:30 to 3 affected my sleep last night. I'm paying for it today. But I've got coffee for us. We've got to rise and grind for the final day this week. This will be the final process show that I do at the age of 37. How's that for you guys? This is the final process while I'm 37 years old. When we get here on Monday, I will be 38. So cheers to you guys. Rise and grind. Let's get it done. Ooh, a little too hot, but we'll be all right. Let's get into it as best as we can here. Let's bring this microphone down a little bit. Appreciate you guys. San Antonio Spurs. We're starting off with a doozy right out of the gate. Helms. Nice. Oh, wait, no, not nice. So sorry. Didn't read the rest of that. My apologies there. Didn't mean to get excited for what is the worst feeling in the world. I just saw finish second and was happy for you. So my bad on that. All right, let's get into it here. San Antonio Spurs. And we're going to zip through this. There are going to be spots where I just toss some stuff in and hope for the best because it's just not going to be worth the time. Like, for example, the San Antonio Spurs have a Q tag on Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Romeo Langford. Did they play yesterday? I already forget yesterday. No, this isn't even a back-to-back. So these guys are all legitimately questionable. Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Romeo Langford, no Vassell, no Devontae Graham, allegedly. Who knows on Khem Birch? Like, we just can't project the San Antonio Spurs at this point. It's just not possible. So we're going to toss some minutes in, but we're not going to dig into whether or not the Spurs are good plays or not. That's not going to get us anywhere. So we're going to do the best that we can. They have no Jakob Poeltl any longer. I assume we're getting Zach Collins. Zach Collins has basically never been able to stay healthy. Have to assume that he won't stay healthy. I assume we're getting Charles Bassey as the backup. Who knows? We'll find out. I guess we get Jeremy Sohan back in for like 28 minutes. Romeo Langford's got the Q tag. I'm going to assume that he's coming back and playing. We're going to do something like whatever I have in here right now. Because the only guys that really matter are not quite going to be talked about in this one. Like, it's Trey Jones, it's Keldon Johnson. That's about it. Yeah, Ken. Not fun for Torrey Craig yesterday. Not fun at all. Hurt me in prize picks as well. Speaking of teams that I don't really know what they're doing, the Detroit Pistons are on the opposite side of this Spurs game. So this is like the Tank Bowl, which is really fun. James Wiseman probably not going to play today. Don't even know why he's on the Pistons right now, but kudos to the Pistons. Smart. Look, it's a smart move by the Pistons. If that's what it takes to get James Wiseman, you roll the dice on it. You just do. That said, it looks like this is going to be the standard Pistons rotation. Save for the fact that Saddiq Bey is no longer on this team. I'm already taking too long just because I don't know what to do with half of this stuff. But this is a pretty bad example of two teams. Assuming we get that same sort of like 28-minute a game beef stew Jalen Duren situation, 33 to Boyan. We have no Kevin Knox here as well now. So there's that. We got Killian Hayes back in the starting lineup in their last game. Oh, I'm burping fish oil. So they went back to that Hayes, Ivy, Boyan, Stewart, Duren lineup. So that's good to see, which means that we can kind of feel pretty good about going up to like 29 minutes on Killian Hayes. And we can get Alec Burks back to the 24 or whatever. I'm really surprised he's still on the team. I guess Corey Joseph re-enters the rotation now. That's a thing. And then, we probably see a couple extra minutes out of Diallo and Livers. And then we probably throw a little bit of playing time to Rodney Magruder. That gets us to a 10-man rotation. Don't really have any rates that I think need to be changed. So as we look at this game, whoops, not even close. Those numbers were way too green. There we go. There's actually the Pistons are oddly playable for today. Whether that's Killian Hayes. I mean, Killian Hayes at 4,700 just looks good today, no matter how this breaks, assuming he's starting again. 4,700 for Killian Hayes is the wrong price tag. So pay close attention to Killian Hayes. That is my recommendation for you guys. Pay close attention to, Boyan's always fine. Jalen Duren's fine. Hamidou Diallo's fine. Well, I think Killian Hayes is just going to look good. These guys are too expensive on FanDuel. Killian Hayes is $6K on FanDuel. He's 4,700 on DraftKings. And then on the Spurs side, they were all Q tags, so it's really hard to talk about them. But assuming whoever starts at center for the Spurs is going to look good. And honestly, if Charles Bassey's the backup, on a normal day, he'd be reasonable. The fact that it's an 11-game slate, he probably isn't. But whoever starts for the Spurs at center is going to be a very good play today. That's game one down. We are not moving at the right pace, but we'll do our best. Phoenix Suns. Here's another one where multiple ridiculous things to talk about for the Phoenix Suns. The first of which is easy. They are on a back-to-back. Your guess is as good as mine what's happening with Phoenix today. Obviously, Kevin Durant is not walking through that door. So I assume we're getting the same thing we got yesterday. Maybe. But they could also add TJ Warren in theory. Or potentially Darius Bazley. This is where it gets confusing. I don't know who's going to be available by today. So this is why the Phoenix Suns are the reason that we're not going to run crunches today. They are on a back-to-back. They could potentially have Landry Shamet, Cam Payne, Darius Bazley. If I'm missing somebody, it's TJ Warren. We don't have any idea what this team is going to look like. So for now, man, who do I want to move around? Who do I want to move around? That's where the question gets tricky. Actually, let me look at one thing here quickly. Is that just missing? Or am I stupid? Don't everybody answer that at once either. Where's Phoenix hiding? Phoenix, filter. Minutes. Okay, didn't think so. Not stupid. Just myself. But yeah, Phoenix is basically just a push. Like, we're not going to even adjust anything that we did for Phoenix yesterday. We don't know it. There's no reason to try to account for it. We will go to the Pacers, however. That's going to be a little bit easier to handle. This is a team that they cut Terry Taylor. They cut James Johnson. They cut somebody else, too, that I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember who it was now. I don't think it was Goga, but maybe it was Goga. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for right now. For the Pacers, though, it looks like they're fully healthy. I'm going to assume that George Hill and Jordan Nwora aren't playing today. That's my assumption. Which means that we can kind of just project the Pacers the way that they normally look. I got 34 minutes in for Tyrese Halliburton. I got 34 minutes in for Buddy Hield. We've got Turner in for his normal minutes. I don't really see any changes. Daniel Tice is now the backup center. We got a little bit more playing time out of Chris Duarte because of Mathurin on Wednesday. I don't think that's long. We're long for that. So I'm going to leave the Indiana rotation as is. And if that's the case, we don't find the Indiana Pacers to be all that interesting today. It's just not going to be that kind of pricing. You know, as always, you can always get to someone like Tyrese Halliburton. For Phoenix, I think it's important to just note that if it looks like Devin Booker, I didn't even think about it like that. Devin Booker's going to play today. So that's one guy that I just need to give playing time now. Even though we know we know Devin Booker is going to be on the floor tonight for what? 28 minutes? And we're going to take a boatload of playing time away from, Josh Okogie off of last night's game and Ish Wainwright off of last night's game and Jock Landale or Bismack Biyombo is probably not going to play. Something along those lines. We'll give Landale that backup run. That takes me to 40. I got 12 minutes left over. Who's the random dude that I didn't give any minutes to? Let's throw them on to TJ Warren. So as we look at Phoenix, now knowing that Book is back, we're just not going to have a team that's all that interesting. Damian Lee is probably the most interesting piece of this team today. And that's going to be as a non-existent value piece. I don't know. Maybe it's DeAndre Ayton. You could talk me into sort of anything there. Those first two games are in the books. Knicks and Philly. So this is another one for the Knicks that's really, really complicating in that they traded for Josh Hart. Now, I assume that Josh Hart is not playing. That's not the injury report I want. Where's 6:30 at? Why does that do that? All right. 6:30 injury report open. Knicks. Yeah, I mean, they've got Arcidiacono, Svi, and Cam Reddish as out on this list. So we have no idea what Josh Hart is actually going to be doing for today. Is he playing? Is he not playing? We do not know. So I am leaving the Knicks rotation as is. But if Josh Hart is here, Josh Hart's going to play a lot. Miles McBride is leaving this rotation, and Josh Hart's going to play something in the 20s for sure. And it's going to flatten everybody out and make all of the Knicks look awful. The moment it can happen, we're not going to get Quickly for days. We're probably not going to get Grimes for days. We're probably not going to get RJ Barrett for a couple of days. All these guys are going to go from this giant chunk of like 36 minutes down to probably 32 because they got to free it up somewhere. Very interested to see how that all shakes out. But for now, we just have to project the Knicks like we normally do, which means that's simple. We go to Philly. Now, Philly made the move of getting off of Matisse Thybulle. They're bringing in Jalen McDaniels. I think that's a very lukewarm move for the Philadelphia 76ers. But the key piece here is that, we assume that he's not playing today, which means we're basically getting the normal Philadelphia 76ers. This should be a normal matchup. We got a Q tag on Embiid. He's got that every day. We sort of only need to account for one day of no Thybulle before we're just going to turn Jalen McDaniels minutes, like he's just going to start getting something. Holy hell. Raise your hand if you forgot that Daniel House was on this team, because I sure did. Dr. DFS, I would be surprised if Grimes goes to the bench. I would be very, very surprised if Grimes goes to the bench. Are we fading today's slate? JJ, there is no chance that I'm playing this slate today. The idea of playing an 11-gamer on a Friday, the day after the trade deadline, is like, if my wife were out of town, I would absolutely play the slate just because I wouldn't have anything else to do. Anything I do today is going to be better than playing this slate. It's not worth my time. Then who? No one. No one's going to the bench. Josh Hart will come off the bench, is my expectation. That's my expectation. All right. I guess we're going to get some additional playing time out of DeAnthony Melton here. We'll get him up to 31. The starting lineup of Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson at the time is +8 on the year. That's a 66th percentile lineup. I just don't think that they want to mess that up. They really like Quentin Grimes. Let's not forget, Quentin Grimes was like not allowed to be traded in a potential Donovan Mitchell deal. So there's also that. All right, I think we're pretty good. Wow, I got to take some more minutes away from Tyrese Maxey. We'll take him down to 29. I think I'm okay with what I've got in here right now for Philly. No one's really going to look good. DeAnthony Melton, 4,400, shooting guard, small forward. If he's now playing 30 minutes a game, which he did for the previous 2 games, I think he's going to look interesting for today. Solid value across good positions. No other priorities here. Roster Joel Embiid if you can. For the Knicks, assuming they're at full strength, it is the man that I unequivocally can't stand in RJ Barrett. And that's probably it. And it's not like Barrett's like a great play. He's just a good play. Coffee is helping me right now. Charlotte Hornets. Now, see, like this is another one where they at least have addition by subtraction. They're 11-point dogs in Boston. They traded away Mason Plumlee. Adios. I guess they now have Svi Mikhailiuk and somebody else that I don't remember that they brought in. Not that it matters. What we do know now is that we're going to get the center rotation that we've been waiting for a bit. We're going to get Mark Williams starting. I assume we're going to get Mark Williams playing something around 28 minutes and then Nick Richards as the backup. I'm going to go 28-20 for now. because I think they like Mark Williams more. It's a terrible matchup against the Celtics, too. PJ Washington maintains his role, as does JT Thor. Thor probably picking up a little bit more time. There's still no Kelly Oubre. There's still no Cody Martin. Probably not going to have Svi available. Let's see. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think they actually only have 9 bodies. And they tend to go to Bryce McGowan's in these situations for a decent chunk of time. I'm going to pop him in for 22. We'll get DSJ up to 22 as well. And then JT Thor up to 12. But 37 to Ball, 36 to Rozier, 34 for me for right now for PJ Washington. That could be 35. The 2 new bigs, we don't have any, we don't have to worry too much. You're playing both of them probably. Gordon Hayward's minutes actually up a little bit more. Let's go ahead and get him up to 31. I'll take a couple more minutes off of JT Thor. Charlotte's kind of easy to project for right now. And rates don't really matter. It's not as if there's a big change in life when Plumlee goes away. So there's that. JJ, I didn't really get some rest last night. I didn't. It's weird. My mind was racing. I didn't sleep well. Boston Celtics. I assume they're not going to have Mike Muscala for tonight. Marcus Smart out. Jaylen Brown out until after the All-Star break, which is, a bummer, but also not that important. Tatum is questionable. Horford, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, all available. So there's a potential for just a staggering amount of value from Boston for tonight in as good of a matchup as you could possibly get against Charlotte. We're probably going to get just good rates in general for Boston as we go ahead and project Derek White for 34 minutes, which is basically what he's been playing. And now with no Jaylen Brown, easy projection. I think it's pretty clear that Peyton Pritchard has to play at the minimum the backup run. Don't see a scenario where he's not getting at least that. I'm going to go ahead and guess that we get Sam Hauser again, the same way that we did on Monday. I'll pop him in for 28 minutes. That'll let me also get Malcolm Brogdon in for... I'm going to do 28 for now. That could be a little light. I'm going to go... I'll stick with 28 for both of those guys. Time Lord's minutes are very easy to put in. We just get him in right away for 28. We get Luke Cornett for what is potentially the final time in for 10 minutes. We get Al Horford in for 31. Grant Williams probably going to have to play a lot today. We're going to get him in for 32. Ooh, do they ever go to Grant Williams at the 3? I'm guessing they don't. Huh. Do I got to take 5 minutes away from Luke Cornett here? Where's a game where Grant Williams... Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Grant Williams, Robert Williams, Luke Cornett, 61. And then Al Horford gets it to 92. I don't think they're ever going to assume Grant Williams is going to play the 3, which means that I'm going to be out of minutes if I don't take them away from Cornett. So I'm only going to give Cornett 5. I don't know why I'm even taking the time to do something stupid like that. We're going straight away 37 to Jason Tatum. And then I could roll 3 over onto Blake Griffin or something as spillover. Yeah, Mark, Reggie Jackson was not on my radar because I knew that he wasn't going to be playing. For right now, I'm going to leave... No, I can't even leave the rates because we need to take a look at some of these guys. Jaylen Brown off. Marcus Smart off. I at least need to change the usage rates for these guys. Malcolm Brogdon. Whose name am I looking for? Derek White. Jason Tatum. That'll cover me. With two of those three guys on. Is that a good enough sample? Yeah. At least two of those three guys on with Brown and Smart off. Tatum's a 33.5% usage guy. Brogdon gets the big jump up to the 26 range. Derek White gets up to like 19. Horford doesn't really change. Grant Williams is a ghost when he's normally on the floor. We'll maintain that. Time Lord, not that kind of guy either. So I actually barely played in these scenarios. So for the most part, I think we're good here for Boston. I don't want to spend too much time on it because that Jason Tatum news is going to help a lot. We kind of need to know that. Surprise, surprise, that's important. That's going to be Boston against Charlotte here. And if Tatum plays, $4,200 Sam Hauser is at a minimum interesting. I don't know if I would call it like good. I certainly need to nerf his usage. Yeah, that should be fine. So Sam Hauser is also not good at 4,200 now that I fixed his usage. If you're going anywhere, I think it's probably Derek White. If you want to pay up for Jason Tatum, by all means. 11-2 is just healthy. Brogdon's already sort of priced up, so it's not that great. Now, Charlotte, we know what we're going to see here. $3,200 Mark Williams is a lock. Lock button. Now, let me be more specific. Whoever starts at center for Charlotte is a lock button play. You can conceivably like both guys. But if Mark Williams is starting, we're talking about a 28-minute a game, 28 minutes. You want to be pessimistic and go 26, by all means. 1.2 fantasy points per minute at 3,200. You're building a lot of lineups around Mark Williams tonight. No matter what news we get for the rest of the day, the starting center for the Hornets is one of the 5 best plays we'll find on today's slate. Yeah, hit that like button, folks. 125 people in here. Adam and I will be on the strategy show. I assume it's Adam and I at least at 10. But you guys know, like, there's just going to be some spots that we just have to skip. Utah Jazz, 7.5 point dogs in Toronto, 232 total. Utah obviously going to look a little bit different here. You know, we have D'Angelo Russell on the team now, which, by the way, I don't feel like I didn't make that correct move. Oh, yeah, because he's not on Utah. Moron. Oh, my God. Okay, so we got to handle Utah, who's now going to be without Mike Conley, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley. I mean, this is a very different team. They brought in Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones. You know, Russ isn't playing for these guys. There's going to be, you would think there's going to be a lot of value here. So Colin Sexton is now going to be, we saw it on Wednesday with no Conley, no Beasley, no Vanderbilt. I don't know how they changed the pricing. So that's where it's going to get interesting. But, you know, I'm going to go 32 minutes to Colin Sexton. I'm going to go 32 minutes to Jordan Clarkson. Walker Kessler is going to go in for 28. Now, this is where it gets a little squirrely. What did they do? Did they split those guys? Wow, Kessler and Azubuike basically split all of those minutes. That's interesting. Wednesday the 8th, Utah. Now, they got it. They got really, really wrecked by Minnesota. But Kessler came off. It was straight Azubuike. Then Kessler came off in the third quarter. Olynyk played a little bit of center. Azubuike covered it. Okay, so we're not going to go 20. to Azubuike. I think we go to 16. That lets us go to 28 on Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk was going to play 28 minutes. He just didn't get that rotation. So then we fill out the rest of this with, we saw Rudy Gay get 18 minutes. I think that's probably going to be, his high watermark at that point. And then we're going to get Markkanen in for, I'm guessing, like 34. We're going to get, I assume THT is now the backup point guard for the most part. Him and like Balmaro. I don't have a lot of bodies. 5, 6, 7. We got to get Akbaji in for probably like 22 minutes. Fontecchio is available. I guess technically he probably gets a chunk of time, and then Talen Horton-Tucker. THT played 24 minutes. How much of that was that blowout? Yeah, so he got an extra 4 minutes of the blowout run. We're going to say that THT gets 20 minutes and Fontecchio gets 12. And I'm actually okay with the rates we have here because it's not like Conley drove a lot of it. So that's going to be Utah. Very curious to see what they look like. On the Raptors side, not really anything to worry about here. I'm going to assume that Jakob Poeltl isn't playing until he is. Like, we just don't know anything yet. As weird as it sounds, I feel like it's probably more complicated to try to go play for Toronto, in Toronto. So I'm going to leave this Toronto rotation as it normally is. We have no OG Anunoby. If Jakob Poeltl gets ruled in, we'll put him in. Otherwise, we kind of know what these guys do already. So I think we move forward from there. We did get more Chris Boucher time. That's 2 straight games. So at the very least, I got to take him up to 24 for now. But as we look at this team, Toronto looks exactly like they always do. Play any one of $9,200 Fred VanVleet is probably too expensive, but play any one of VanVleet, Siakam, Barnes, Trent, Achua, or Chris Boucher, and you'll feel probably totally fine about it. If Jakob Poeltl plays, I'm going to go out on a limb and say don't play Precious Achua or Chris Boucher. Just guessing. And probably not much else. What we really need to do, though, is look at Utah for the Jazz. 4K Colin Sexton. There's basically no scenario where this will change, barring him getting ruled out. Colin Sexton is sort of in the Hornets center mold. You're playing a ton of Colin Sexton today by default. You almost don't care what his ownership is. It's really hard for him to fail today at 4K. Similarly, not similarly at all. I like Walker Kessler a little bit. The minutes have become very firm now with Vanderbilt gone. I wouldn't go crazy, but he looks good at 5,700. All right, so we're at 7:05. We've got 25 minutes to go before we got to get out of here. We're through 5 games, so the pace is okay. But I just wanted to make sure that we got through each team and just like had a quick talk about it. But I hope that you guys are understanding how impossible a day like today is. For example, Minnesota has an actual Q tag on Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert. Austin Rivers is back. We have no idea what the status of Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are going to be. Do they play? Do they not play? I have no idea. It's all just really, really unappealing. I can leave the Gobert minutes and the Naz Reid minutes. I can leave the Kyle Anderson minutes, my Taurean Prince minutes, Jaden McDaniel, Edwards, Noel, McLaughlin. I'm going to leave. This is going to sound ridiculous based on what I've been doing, but I'm just going to leave Mike Conley in for his normal 30 minutes and assume he plays. It's not like he's going to look good. Now, we could also get we could also just get like starting Jordan McLaughlin or starting Jalen Noel today, and I wouldn't be surprised, and we're going to create a ton of value. That is what later is for. I would like to get Austin Rivers back on the team, but I honestly don't know where he fits. I don't know where Austin Rivers' minutes would come from. I guess he can just have like 11. But for right now, assuming this is all correct and Mike Conley just comes in and is himself, I think is a very reasonable proposition. They are freeing up a little bit of usage. That'll be interesting for someone like Edwards. They don't really have a ton of guys that like get big usage. I mean, Mark, my assumption would be McLaughlin if it's anybody. I feel like they like Jalen Noel more on that second unit. But it also is probably just going to be Mike Conley. So someone's going to have to shoot in that starting lineup, though. And it's going to have to be someone more than Anthony Edwards. Now, on the Memphis end, again, like, I don't know what they're going to be doing with Luke Kennard. And from a health standpoint, Memphis has no Steven Adams and probably no Luke Kennard. So I think we're just projecting this team just like we normally do. And bring Tillman's minutes down a hair. Otherwise, I think we're fine here. So as we look at Memphis, really like Ja Morant at 10-6. It's a great matchup for him. Not too much else you want to get to here from the Grizzlies. They've been pretty consistent lately. Not a lot of value to squeeze out of those prices. For Minnesota, obviously the Q tags matter. I don't mind Gobert. If Kyle Anderson is in, 5K is probably not enough for him. If Mike Conley is playing at 5,900, he doesn't look good. There's not much here. Anthony Edwards is already too expensive. JJ, Josh Minot was only playing because of everybody being out. Rivers out for 3 games for the suspension. Anderson out for basically 2.5 games. Josh Minot's not going to be playing anymore. Aldo, Conley needs Greg Oden from the Ohio State days. For real. Greg Oden was so good, man. Particularly at Ohio State. He's everything that everybody, like, he was Joel Embiid first. Really, but better defensively. Now we go to Houston. Now this Houston team is still without KPJ. They brought in Justin Holiday, Frank Kaminsky. They're going to cut John Wall. I assume they're going to buy out Danny Green as well. But Eric Gordon is no longer on this team. The only saving grace for Houston here is that we know how to project this team when they've got guys out. Because they don't really screw around too much. They make it easy for us. I assume we're going to get Dyson Nix and KJ Martin into the spots that have been vacated by Eric Gordon and Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando. I'm assuming we're just going to get Usman Garuba as essentially the straight backup center. I think we're going to get Dyson Nix in for... No, actually, I don't think they're going to start Knicks. Saturday the 4th, who started? Houston, OKC. Now, they lost by 30. Okay, they did start Knicks in that game? Oh, yeah, you got the Bogans. I forgot about that. Toussaint, I don't totally agree with you. Look, I don't totally agree. It looks good in hindsight. There were real questions about KD at that time in terms of if his body could physically handle the NBA. We can look at it in retrospect now as ridiculous. And the way that the game was played every year from KD getting into the league was better for his skill set. But Greg Oden was a man in college. I tell people this all the time. If you can, go watch the highlights of his game against Florida in the NCAA title game with a broken hand or thumb or whatever it was. This dude was everywhere defensively. He was able to get shit done. He basically played with one hand for half the season. It's his floor, if he were healthy, was like Marcus Camby. And people are not going to understand what that actually means, but ultra high level defense. Think about him being like a more talented Rudy Gobert. I mean, Joel Embiid is the comp. He's Embiid. It's not as cut and dry as it should seem. Now, if you want to look into the injuries that he had and if that should have been diagnosed better, that's one thing. But we can't be too retroactive here. Durant was great for sure. Oden, like, he was not a bust. When he was on the floor, he was always talented. He was just not healthy. I mean, I remember what KD did in college. He scored at will. That was not as translatable of a skill to me because of his size. I mean, you look like Kevin Durant in college. I mean, not that he's big now, but like you could hide that dude behind a flag or behind a telephone pole in college. He was nothing. And the thought of like him getting pushed off of his spots was a real thing. We saw a lot of guys that looked like Kevin Durant get drafted in the 10 years before that as like your straight out of high school type guys that never put it together. Again, like Kevin Durant was obviously going to be a good scorer and a good shooter. Like I'm not trying to undermine that, but we sleep on Oden too much. Yeah, Oden couldn't shoot like Embiid because no bigs were ever shooting like that at the time, though. Like it's Joel Embiid if Joel Embiid grows up 10 years earlier. All right, I actually they're S&P. I think they're going to go Knicks, but it's going to be like limited 24 minutes of Knicks type stuff. Get Jalen Green in for 34. I just lost too much time talking about Greg Oden. Thanks, guys. Really helpful there for me. Something that I just certainly did not have time to do. Christopher played 28 in that one. I'm going to give him 20 for this one. Yeah. Also, S&P could not be more meaningless at this point in time at 7:15 in the morning, the day after the deadline. I don't know how to say that, but Shabu, how old are you? Who am I missing here? Who needs playing time now that... Who am I not giving playing time to? Because they're not going to... They're not going to this rotation. 47. Okay, so you saw it. Good to know. I guess they could play Justin Holiday. They're not going to a 9-man rotation. Are they 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I mean, they did. They did go 9 men. So then that's a Jayshawn Tate bump in minutes, I guess. Not Tari Eason. I guess we got to get Kmart up maybe to 32. Cannot give Jabari Smith 32. 34 works for Jalen Green. Oh, yeah, because we're replacing Eric Gordon there. Then I definitely need to get at least one more guy into this rotation. Probably Ty Washington? Maybe? Man, this team is like inundated with point guards. Justin Holiday is going to play for these guys. Just going to go throw Ty Washington 9 minutes. I spent way too much time on Houston. I just screwed up aggressively there. I just caught, like, we're not going to finish this slate. I got to be out of here. No doubt about it. I got to be out of here in 13 minutes. So we are going to end this show before we finish this show. On the Miami side, no Kyle Lowry, no Oladipo. So we're getting the same thing that we got from Miami last time out on Wednesday. No Lowry, no Oladipo. So we're going to go that 9-man rotation once again. I'm not changing anything here. 36 for Bam, 36 for Hero. I mean, it should probably be 37 for Hero. 34 for Gabe Vincent. Yep, probably going 35 to Gabe Vincent. Strus for 26. Oh, they didn't give it to him. Caleb Martin got 37. Okay. I went 28 to Highsmith. We'll go 26 to Highsmith. Gonna have to be. Do we like anything for Houston or Miami? So any of the Miami starters for sure. And you could take a run at like a Haywood Highsmith type guy. Houston, kind of already priced where they should be. We've already known those guys weren't going to be playing, so not as interesting. Kieran says, do OKC Portland. I mean, we'll get to it. Cleveland and the Pels. This one actually should be pretty easy. Neither team really did anything. Cleveland, I think, made a giant mistake by not doing anything, but that's neither here nor there. No Ricky Rubio in this one, which means that we just give minutes to Howell Neto as if there is no difference. Seems like we're going to get Garland and Mitchell with no issues. Make sure I do Clips and Bucks. Probably not going to do that one. I have 10 different dudes on the Clippers. Chris, I'm not even going to run these crunches. How is Miami Houston for a game stack? Not good. Oh, Kawhi's out? Great. Yeah, look, none of this is meaningful at all. Apologies to the 152. I'm happy to have you guys here, but we're just here to talk basketball. I should just shut this stuff off and we can just talk about the trade deadline for 10 more minutes or Greg Oden until I'm done. Like, I don't have anything else to change here for Cleveland. They did give... Oh, yeah, 2 guys were out. Yeah, I got nothing else to change for Cleveland. And then for the Pels, they didn't do anything of value other than bring in Josh Richardson. If he can play, great. I don't know whose minutes that dude's going to take for the Pelicans. They don't exactly need him, but, you know, there's certainly minutes to be had, I guess. Trey Murphy in for 31. Ingram in for 34. Yeah. Herb Jones in for 34. Yeah. 35 for CJ. I guess I got to be 35. If I'm giving 35 to CJ, I got to give 35 to Herb Jones. But otherwise, you know, we're just keeping this team the same. Grant Williams or Tari Eason, if they both start. Tari Eason's not going to start, but it's Tari Eason by miles. Miles and miles and miles. Kira Lewis's minutes are not creeping up. They are not creeping up at all. Would I still play Josh Okogie? I doubt it. And I'm saying that as someone that played 75% Josh Okogie last night. But he's not. Assuming like Booker's in, I don't think that like the fact that Booker is in and you've got 30-ish minutes just to reallocate, you're probably not going that direction. OKC, they got rid of Muscala. Great pickup for Boston, by the way. Eason over Williams, even if Tatum's at... Yes. If Tari Eason is starting, he's one of the best plays on today's slate. I have no reason to suspect that Tari Eason is going to start today. But if he is, he's a much better play than Grant Williams. Tari Eason's a fantasy point per minute guy. Grant Williams is terrible in DFS. It wouldn't even be close. Unless Tari Eason's salary is somehow stupid and I don't know it. Yeah, 4,300. If Tari Eason starts, the optimal odds are like 4 times bigger than Grant Williams. All right. OKC did get Dario Saric. Who knows if he's playing? I actually like that for them. Just add to that big man rotation of complicating bullshit. Lou Dort is questionable. So we're making this even more confusing now by potentially bringing back Lou Dort. I'm going to give him 28 minutes. We're going to get Lindy Waters out of there. Kenrich is fine. Giddey's fine. Isaiah Joe's minutes. Nope. I have minutes to go around. Where do they go then? I guess Jalen Williams has been playing a little bit more. 7 minutes to go, folks, before we get out of here. Apologies for having to bail on a day like today, but I'm actually, look, all we're going to do is spin our wheels anyway. It's a fun slate if you want to put the work in, for sure. No denying that it's a good slate if you're willing to go hard today. But it could also be bad. Who the hell am I missing? I have a 9-man rotation in here. Who am I short on? It's not, Giddey can go to 31. Shea's in for enough. Jalen Williams is in for enough. Aaron Wiggins and Joe are both fine. I just got to replace the Muscala minutes with somebody. Saric has a spot if he can play today. I wonder if they bring JRE back up. I'm just going to give him those 13 minutes. I think we could see JRE today. Am I doing contenders today? Yep. Maybe. I'll have that conversation later. I'll have a prize picks video out for sure. I might not put contenders out until the early afternoon. I'm going to send a message about it. All right. Portland obviously has no Josh Hart now. They also have no Gary Payton any longer. Thanks for the quick rental on Gary Payton, Portland. Thanks for sending him back over to Golden State. I assume we get Nas Little into the starting lineup here. That seems like the most likely scenario to me. On Wednesday, we had the starting lineup for Portland against Golden State. They went to Gary Payton. Obviously, that's not going to work out. So let's assume that we get Nas Little in for something in the 26 range. We've got Drew Eubanks in for 26. Probably make it 25. We'll go 23 to Watford. Grant's still going to play a ton. I don't think that we're going to get too much more out of Shaedon Sharpe at this point, but he does have the ability. He's terrible. Absolutely terrible on a per-minute basis. We'll get a little bit of time out of Jabari Walker. And then, your guess is as good as mine as to who soaks up the final 23 minutes on this team. I guess we probably get a little bit more Jabari. Keon Johnson can probably play a minute or two. We could just get the real dudes that are here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They only have 10 guys if this breaks the right way. This is just horrendous. Who am I not projecting in? Lillard, Simons, Eubanks, Sharpe, Little, Watford, Jabari Walker. All right, Keon Johnson's questionable. We're going to go ahead and give him 12 minutes. John Butler is a guy that's on this team. I don't even have the ability to put him in right now. I don't think. John Butler. Nope, not a real person in my model yet. I'm just going to spill 11 minutes over to somebody random. We'll give him the Cam Reddish for right now. I don't think much of this matters. There's not a lot of usage to go around. We know what Portland looks like. If you want to play Lillard, Simons, Grant, by all means, go for it. If Nas Little is starting, he's going to look like a great value play at a minimum salary. He's not a great per minute guy, though. Let's be clear. But he will work at the flat 3K. OKC is completely uninteresting other than Shea. And while I know that we have 2 games left, one of those games is Dallas with a Luka Doncic Q tag. Changes the entire scope of the Mavs. Sacramento is just the same team they always are. They made no moves. Maybe they work in Kessler Edwards. Milwaukee is on a back-to-back. We're probably not going to see Middleton, who had a really good scoring night last night. Who knows on Jay Crowder? You would think he could be ready for today, but maybe he has to ramp up. Jingles is probably in for today. And then for the Clippers, no Kawhi Leonard. Assuming we don't get Eric Gordon, Mason Plumlee, or Bones Highland, could be a very interesting spot for Paul George. But that's where we're at for today, guys. It's really, really difficult to do anything right now. We're probably not going to have any real information until the 1:30 injury report, six hours before the main one. So we're packing it in, folks. We're packing it in. It's all that we can do. I'd love to keep going if I could, but of all the shows for this year, this one will be the most meaningless process show we will do. Who's Jingles? Joe Ingles, man. You basically typed his entire name. You're 2 letters short. Hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Shout out to BetMGM. Again, I will be on the strategy show with Adam at 10 o'clock. We'll do our best to work our way through some of this stuff. I want to do contenders. I'm going to actually try to get out of it because it seems like just ridiculous. But we'll do what we can. Good luck tonight, everybody. Tune into everything. We're back for the process on Monday, and we can get back to business and grind ultra hard, at least for 4 games or 4 days until we go to the All-Star break. So peace, everybody.